Two Komodo dragons are tearing into each other, neck muscles straining, serrated teeth ripping through skin. The exact same bite would drop a 900-pound water buffalo in a matter of hours. And when the fight is over, both dragons just walk away. No infection, no slow death, nothing. This is an animal that carries one of the deadliest bites on earth in its own mouth, and it is somehow immune to it. To understand how, we have to start with a story that nearly everyone believes, and that story is wrong. For decades, the go to explanation was beautifully gruesome. The idea was that a Komodo dragon's mouth is a walking cesspit, dozens of strains of vicious bacteria, festering and rotting meat stuck between its teeth. So the dragon didn't need to win the fight. It just had to land one bite, then follow its victim for days as the infection did the killing for it. This idea came from a researcher who studied the dragons in the wild back in the 1970s. He watched prey die of infection and assumed the mouth was the weapon. And it was such a good story that it spread everywhere. Documentaries, textbooks, trivia nights for 40 years. Everyone repeated it. There was just one problem. Nobody had actually checked. So a team of researchers finally did the obvious thing. They swabbed the mouths of wild Komodo dragons and grew whatever was living in there. And the bacteria they found were boring, ordinary mouth germs, the same kind you'd find in any meat eater, including your dog. It turned out Komodo dragons are surprisingly clean eaters. They lick their lips and wipe their mouths after a meal. The killer bacteria theory was dead, which left a much bigger hole in the story. If it wasn't the bacteria, what was it? The answer had been hiding inside the dragon's lower jaw the whole time. In 2009, a different study scanned that jaw and found something no one expected in a giant lizard. Venom glands, real ones, ducts feeding a cocktail of toxins straight to the teeth. And this venom does something diabolical. It stops the victim's blood from clotting. It crashes their blood pressure. It sends the body into shock. So here's the dragon's actual strategy. It bites down, grips with those serrated teeth, and rips backward to tear a huge gaping wound. Then the venom takes over, keeping that wound bleeding freely instead of sealing shut. The prey doesn't die of poison exactly. It bleeds and drops into shock until it can't stand. It's not a filthy bite that gets lucky. It's a precision bleeding machine, and that is where our real mystery finally kicks in, because Komodo dragons don't just use this weapon on deer and buffalo. They use it on each other constantly. They fight over food, they fight over mates, and big dragons will straight up eat smaller ones, which means these animals are getting bitten by the same venom over and over their entire lives. By the logic we just learned, every one of those bites should keep bleeding and send them into shock, but it doesn't. They shrug it off and walk away. So the question isn't really what makes the bite deadly anymore. The question is why the animal carrying it is immune. And the immunity comes in two layers. The first is written into the dragon's genes. When scientists read the Komodo genome, they found mutations in the very genes that control blood clotting. In plain terms, the dragon's own blood is tuned to resist the exact anticoagulant effect its venom relies on. So when one dragon bites another, the victim's blood does what the prey's blood never gets to do. It clots, it closes the wound. The dragon evolved the counter weapon and the weapon at the same time. But there's a second layer, and it's the one that might matter to you. Even without special killer bacteria, a huge open wound in a hot, dirty jungle is an infection waiting to happen. So researchers scanned the dragon's blood for how it protects itself and found hundreds of germ-fighting compounds. One of them is a small antimicrobial protein they named VK25. It rips apart a wide range of bacteria and even some viruses and fungi. Essentially, the Komodo dragon's blood is a built-in disinfectant. patrolling for anything that tries to infect its wounds. Put those two layers together, and the mystery dissolves. The venom that shreds its prey can't make the dragon bleed out because its blood won't stop clotting. And the wounds that should get infected don't, because its blood is already killing the germs. It's not that the bite is harmless to them, it's that evolution handed them the cure in the same package as the weapon. And here's the part that turns this from a cool animal fact into something that could actually change your life. That germ killing molecule in the dragon's blood caught scientists' attention for an obvious reason. We are running out of working antibiotics, and bacteria are outsmarting the ones we have. So, researchers took VK25 as a blueprint and built a synthetic version of it called DRGN1. Then they tested it on the kind of nasty drug resistant wounds that normally refuse to heal. And DRGN1 didn't just kill the bacteria, it broke apart their defensive slime and actually sped up the healing. A molecule that evolved to keep a Komodo dragon alive after fighting another Komodo dragon might one day help heal a human wound that nothing else can touch. So think about what this animal really is. For millions of years, the Komodo dragon perfected a poison strong enough to kill almost anything on its island. And in the very same body, at the very same time, it perfected the cure. The deadliest mouth on earth isn't just carrying a weapon. It's been carrying the antidote all along, and we're only now learning how to borrow it. Nature didn't just build a killer. It built a killer that couldn't be killed by itself and left us the recipe.